News dump. You hear about this? Are you on that thread yet?
I mean, yes and no. Like, I clicked the app and it like auto logs you in if you already have Instagram. So yes, I am on there. Do I plan on using the app? No, I don't.
Well, what if we have to as a life preserver?
Listen, everyone talks about this all the time. They do it with TikTok in China and all that shit too. Those apps aren't going away. However, if you could vote to bring one social media app back, what would you choose?
Ooh, what did I really like that's gone? I guess Vine.
Vine for sure for me.
Yeah.
Because it made people be more creative. So you get 6 seconds in and out. If you make me laugh, doesn't matter because it's only 6 seconds and I can move on.
I'll tell you right now, me having to cut videos to 3 minutes is already too much.
I'm telling you, there were some real talented people that became stars via Vine. Now TikTok, I have taken to more recently. I shunned it for a couple of years because of Vine. I stood with Vine. I didn't want to cross that picket line. But now I'm a TikToker. I don't post anything. I just repost what you post. But I do spend an awful long time on TikTok.
And you can find us on Thread right now, Mac. Yes, we are on there at Mac and Goo Podcast.
Now, is there any way to sync up your tweets with your threads?
Well, I think Hootsuite is
what
Hootsuite.
It sounds like a beer.
Well, no. So what you do is you post it there, and then it shoots it off to all your social media.
Oh, it's almost like you do with the podcast.
I think so, but I think it's like $50 a month. I'm not going to do that.
Oh, fuck that. Yeah.
So now it's just me trying to feed my computer eggs while I'm posting to all the social media.
One egg was 40 eggs. What about Instagram though? Because can your Instagram post go straight there?
That's what I was trying to figure out too, because we post to Instagram, and Instagram, right, I believe, has like the video limits of 10. I don't go to 10. I try and stick to 3. But the Twitter limit is like 2 minutes and 20 something seconds.
It's like 2 minutes and 14
just
seconds.
Beyond there. I go just beyond there, so I can't post on there, but I can post it to Thread.
Whoa, how about that?
Yeah.
So is that the idea? Combining TikTok and Twitter?
I don't know what the fuck's happening, man.
Yeah, I'm not about it. Listen, I don't really care. I'm not gonna complain about it. Like, people like it, so
just tell us where to go.
We do need to consolidate though.
Yes,
that's for sure. But then the issue is, then one site has too much power, and that's the whole thing we're discussing now. Anyways, I still think far and away Twitter is the best social media on the planet. People call it a cesspool. A little spoiler alert here, folks. The world is a cesspool. Twitter accurately reflects the world.
You know why you like this cesspool?
Why?
That is Twitter, is because you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, I thrive in chaos. I fucking love it. I cherish it. Additionally, all the best stuff from all the other platforms makes it onto Twitter. So
every app has all the same stuff.
No. Twitter has
People are going on Thread right now, and they're just posting all of their garbage from Twitter. It's the same thing now.
Twitter's got it all. Twitter's still the A1.
News up.
RP Vine.
Back, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny at the box office. Not so good on a budget of $295 million. That before marketing. In its opening weekend, only made $60.4 million, 130 global.
That is a lot of money to make a movie that no one wanted made. It is a movie that no one at all asked for. I just feel like the studio or a couple people that liked the original movies had a sour taste in their mouth after the last one
and
so
said,
we can't end it there.
It's an IP. Let's go ahead and squeeze that rag and get all the juices out.
It is going to be very close to making money back. I don't know if it's going to get there, but that's going to be real close.
They spent a lot on marketing. I'm not sure if it's gonna.
And the other part too is choosing to make this movie with a 100-year-old man. You're buying into like baseline 50 million in de-aging.
So I will say this. I've seen the movie, spoiler free, Mac.
Yeah.
The de-aging scene is actually pretty cool. Now, you need to get past some weird CGI, like the character running, it looks a little off.
Sure.
And then, like, the mouth doesn't always line up great. And they use his old man voice with the young body, which is odd. The chin hurts a little bit. Also, there's a really good spelunking scene. Really classic Indiana Jones stuff. But you take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and then you have Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, because the bad is some of the stuff that's just as bad as Crystal Skull. You know, he's riding a horse as a getaway through the subway, and he's dodging subway carts. It's really not great. And also, the final scene, Mac. The final scene is pure lunacy.
Can I ask a completely spoiler-full question?
Yes.
Does he survive?
That's a great question. You mind if I'll cut this from the podcast or I'll bleep it out. Let me spoil it for you right now. Okay, so at the end of the movie, Mads Mikkelsen, he's a Nazi and he's working for NASA.
By the way, he's good at it?
No, he's good.
I'm sick of Mads Mikkelsen playing the same villain.
Okay.
He's always playing the same villain.
So he's a Nazi. He's working for NASA on the down low. And at the end of the movie, to get away from Indiana Jones, he hops into one of his rocket ships. And
he has multiple.
Yes, and he is going to the moon.
Okay.
And then a scientist goes up to Indiana Jones and says, hey, he's not going to be around for 30 years, so you have to hop into this freezer. And they cryogenically freeze Indiana Jones for 30 years from the 60s.
Hold the goddamn phone. They Han Solo Indiana Jones?
No, I actually just told you the premise of Austin Powers.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, glad you've seen Austin Powers.
Well, I was just latching on to the freezing thing there.
They didn't actually do that, Mac. They didn't do any of that.
Okay. So does he live or does he die?
No, you'll find out in a couple weeks.
I'm not going to watch it.
I'll tell you in a couple weeks then.
All right. Set a reminder in your phone to remind me about the ending of Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny.
News down. Mac, we have some good movies on the horizon this month, July. This might be the best month of the year, actually. Out this week is Joyride. I do recommend it. Nice 90-minute, crisp, road trip, raunchy comedy. Getting back to those late 90s, early 2000s comedies. Let's see it.
It's R-rated.
It is R-rated. It's
all right.
very
so you got
R-rated.
options. You got that, and you got No Hard Feelings.
Yes.
So go to the theater. Yeah, for
very
sure.
R-rated, Mac.
Okay.
Also, next week, and we both saw this, is Mission Impossible 7, Dead Reckoning Part 1. And just a little tease here is Tom Cruise has figured it out. He has figured out the action, pretty simple story for anyone to follow with just enough to make you feel like, hey, this is great.
You know what they've done now, and this is a credit to Christopher McQuarrie, who's been the writer on the last 3 or 4 and the director of the last 2 or 3.
Yeah, and he was also the screenwriter, or he wrote the screenplay for Top Gun 2. Okay.
But I'm talking more story based here for Mission Impossible. He took a lot of those first 3 movies, and then the 4th movie started actually building that world and making stuff canon and sort of fixing stuff that was a little wonky from the first 3. Instead of just making 7 one-offs, he's like, we should fucking build a world here. So starting in 4, we really have these same recurring characters over the last 4, 5, 6, 7. And it's been a joy, and it adds a layer to an action movie that most of them don't have, where you care for certain characters and there's a little more emotion for certain characters. So he's definitely the brain behind it all, and what has taken these movies to a new level. Also, this is kind of in step with the last 2. 98% on Rotten Tomatoes for this from the critics, and 82 on Metacritic. So obviously, technically as well, this movie is good. I don't think either of us loved it, and I'm definitely a bigger Mission Impossible guy than you. But it's a very good movie.
It's just solid. It is just rock solid.
Yeah.
And then, of course, on the 21st, we've been obsessed with this for a very, very long time. It is Barbie v. Oppenheimer at the end of the month. And Mac, I told you this last Friday. I informed you that I was on a Barbie cruise.
Yeah, you had a nice fit. Credit to you for that fit, and me for my July 4th fit. We both absolutely crushed it. You said to me to bet the house that Barbie's going to make 100 million. And I said I would figure more 70. I just don't know. I don't know how it's going to get to triple digits. It just seems like there's too much competition, and I legit, like, even speaking realistically about it, who is the audience? Like, seriously, who's the audience for this movie? Like, you and I are going to see it out of pure curiosity, but who's the audience?
News dump. Speaking of box office, Mac, I will tell you who the audience was on this cruise ship. I was maybe one of 5 straight gentlemen on the ship. It was women that, from the ages of 21 through like 40, and then a lot of gay gentlemen.
Okay, so you get the girls and the gays, so that's a massive audience that maybe I hadn't accounted for. But even then,
also they aren't really making movies for, or they aren't making blockbuster movies for.
And to that point, that's not necessarily the type going to see Oppenheimer or Mission Impossible.
Exactly.
So maybe they aren't. There's not too much of a crossover there. I just have a hard time imagining 100 million. I still think like 70, 75.
Mac, let's do the over under on opening weekend for these movies coming out in July. The number set for Oppenheimer, the estimate for Oppenheimer is 40 million. Over under.
I feel like Nolan's namesake alone automatically gets you 30, 40. So I feel like this is going to be over. Doesn't that feel low to you?
I'm going to take the under, but just by a smidge, because I've heard people that are not mad, but they did not like Tenet, and they thought Tenet was unbelievably confusing, and it kind of turned them off Nolan.
I hear that criticism. I'm not saying it's wrong. This is in a completely different lane than Tenet.
I agree with you completely, but you see Nolan and you're like, he kind of pissed me off last time.
Maybe that's so. I just feel like, I'm not saying it's going to go way over, but I feel like that's
fine.
Low.
You have the over, I have the under. It's what makes us different that makes us great, but also similar that makes us great too. Mac, Barbie, and what do you want to set the over-under at? Because the estimate is from 80 to 100 million. That's a huge window. You want to say 90?
Yeah, you got to call it 90.
Okay, let's go 90. I'm going over.
I'm going under by at least 10.
But to be fair, I'm also in a Barbie cult.
You got a membership as you waltzed onto that boat.
I waved the Barbie flag, and I said, you are our champion.
What type of Barbie-themed drinks did they have?
I had a White Claw, so I don't know. I had a couple White Claws.
Oh, righty.
I didn't know what else to order.
Sure.
Mission Impossible 7, $90 million. I'm going to take the over.
Yeah, that seems like an easy over, especially if you just add up what you think Barbie and Oppenheimer is going to do, it's more than that.
But not only that, it's in a weekend by itself. There's nothing coming out this week. So there's not going to be that hangover of another movie coming out. And Indiana Jones might not even be in the theaters by then.
It's battling nothing, and it's getting A1 reviews from everyone.
Yes.
It's going to make 100 million.
And also, once again, on the back of Top Gun 2, obviously not the same series of movies, but that movie killed it last summer.
Faux show.
How about Haunted Mansion? And they have this at 25 to 35 million. Let's say 30 million. I will take the under.
This is coming out the week after Barbie and Oppenheimer?
I believe so.
I don't know when this is coming out.
I don't think it matters when it comes out because all these heavy hitters are just gonna...
Yeah, we'll call that 30. It's going to be under 30.
And then finally, Insidious, The Red Door, and let's say 25 million.
Yeah, so the really good horror movies have been getting 20, 25, 30. I don't know if this is going to play the same.
You're going to push?
I'm going to go a little under. I think about 20.
I'll also go under because of everything that's coming out this month.
Yeah, Jeff Feel.
News dump. Got a trailer for Dune 2 and got a little peek ski at a bald black and white fella.
That is your Elvis Presley there. Austin
that is
Butler.
my Elvis Presley. Hashtag my Elvis Presley.
First of all, the movie is called either Tune or Dune Part 2, and you fucked it up. You really fucked up.
Tune Part 2.
Goo, this trailer makes me, I won't say considerably more excited for the movie, but I'm starting to get gassed up a little bit. I'm like, all right, I'm getting back into the flow. I'll probably rewatch the first one in like a month or so. This is set to come out November 3rd. But what this trailer ultimately made me feel like is there's no way this movie is not going to be at least 3 hours. This movie is going to be really, really long.
This movie also has a ton of sand. Just toss that out. There's a lot of sand. It also seems like it's way more action-packed than the first one.
Well, they've
already
got
the setup and the exposition out of the way.
Yeah.
Now it's just payoff.
It almost feels like there's room for a trilogy, and now we're getting everything
I
in
have
this
seen
movie.
that they've greenlit a third one, but it's based
not
off a different book.
but not as a
Yes.
part of this story.
Agreed,
Operates
yes.
in the universe, but it's not the same part of this story. So I'm interested to see what happens here, because once you get there, now there have been few a movie, you know, nary a movie, few and far between, that has been 3 hours and deserved it. You know, Endgame is one you can think of. There's a couple that have been worthy of the 3 hour thing. The issue here you run into now, it's obviously Dune and Villeneuve have their super fans. Once you get 180 minutes on the ticker there's going to be people that just flat out won't see the movie.
Also, once again, if you go over a certain amount of time, you can only show the movie so many times at the theater because you are cutting out part of your theater experience.
Yeah, and that's something when we kind of stumbled upon that. I mean, I guess it was a known thing anyways, but when we did that episode last week, that was a part of the conversation. You know, a 90-minute movie can be showed twice as much as a 3 hour movie can. So,
math. News up. Another trailer for Killers of the Flower Moon. Martin Scorsese.
Scorsese and every good actor you can think of. I don't know what's going to
name an actor.
Jesse Plemons.
He's in.
I don't know what's going to get me excited for this movie. But if it matters to anyone, the early critic reviews on this are higher than even Mission Impossible. So no doubt in my mind, this is going to be one of the quote unquote better movies of the year.
There's a bunch of action scenes in this one too.
As far as the critics say.
You think Plemons does his own stunts?
Got in shape for this one. This is probably going to get a Best Picture nom based on what I've been reading too. Also, you know, speaking of length, this is confirmed to be over 3 hours. So we're in it. If you wanted to watch these two movies back to back, you might need a day off afterwards.
Also, the way that Scorsese's talking about this, he's talking about cinema in general, about his age. This feels like his last movie, right?
Yeah. Whether he decides that or not, I think you might be right. I think this comes out like 3 weeks before Dune as well. So that's going to be a long December.
So you're saying that by the time this movie ends, Dune will be coming out?
Yes, exactly.
News up. Mac loves Secret Invasion. Let's check in with him.
So I've got to give complete and utter credit here to the team at New Rockstars, because they're really helping me out with this show. The show is
Turn us off and go watch them.
Eric Voss, New Rockstars. They do a fucking great job.
He's awesome. Yeah.
So this show is just a lot of dialogue and a lot of stuff you got to pick up on. And sometimes you look at your phone for a minute and you miss something. So this was the shortest episode so far, third episode in, called Betrayed. And we've cats out of the bag sort of with this episode. Now I'll go sort of spoiler free here for those that haven't seen it. But Fury's wife is up to something, and Rhodey is maybe Goo, not who he appears to be.
Oh,
maybe not who
makes
he appears
sense
to be.
Because he should be dead.
That's the big market tease at the end of the episode, although nothing confirmed there. Also, massive stuff going on with Gravik, the big bad, and Gaia, who is Talos's daughter, who's sort of working with Gravik. Really good episode. It's starting to showcase a little bit of stuff, and it unveils what Gravik's plan is. So you can now start to look to like the comic books and see what some of the possibilities are, and what they're sort of teasing. It's just, it's interesting just because it's acted well. But this is the show I've needed the most help with by the internet.
Well, luckily we are recording a little bit earlier in the day than we expected. I'll be able to watch some episodes tonight because I keep on forgetting.
Ooh.
Yeah. News dump. Speaking of Marvel, speaking of the MCU, there are reports out there that in Deadpool 3, we will finally see Wolverine, Hugh Jackman's Logan, in the yellow and blue suit.
Yep, I appreciate those reports. I think you and I would have bet all of our life savings that this was going to be seen in this movie before anyone ever said anything.
Well, I wasn't sure if it'd be this or the yellow and brown. And hear me out. I think there's a chance because this is a multiverse movie. We're going to see both.
Yep, we could see both. The yellow and brown, more comic accurate. The yellow and blue, obviously made famous by the cartoon.
Yep. Well, also, if he's wearing the yellow and blue, Has there been any reports of Patrick Stewart showing up in this movie?
So there have been reports of like a dozen to 15 X-Men showing up in this movie.
Yeah.
All sorts of version of characters. This is essentially going to be what we wanted from Multiverse of Madness a little bit of a lot of
Now, don't set expectations up. Let's keep on lowering our expectations.
I'm not talking story-wise. I'm just talking about crossovers and silliness. I think we're going to get it in this movie because, again, this movie has no real stakes in the MCU yet. So they're going to be able to play around with some stuff. And then by the end of it, we'll know what's going on going forward. But I think they're going to get real zany in here, Goo, with Deadpool 3.
Of course, we've also gotten the reports of Gambit, possibly 2 Gambits.
Multiple Gambits. Gambai.
I was going to say Gambai. Gumbo, if you will.
Oh, well, Southern.
Oh, we're going to get 2 beasts?
Ooh,
I think Nicholas Hoult shows up, and then
Nicky
Deadpool's
Hoult
like,
and Kelsey Grammer?
No, I think Grammer doesn't, and then Deadpool's like, where the fuck's Frasier? That's going to be one of the lines in the movie. We know this.
I stopped doubting you with your Gustadramas stuff when you predicted Tony Stark's dad coming back. So that was one
that's not going to matter. No one cares about that. That was a great scene.
Was a great scene. That was the first time I was like, all right, I can't.
And then in that movie, once again, I said Captain America's going to stay back in time. What does he do?
Yeah, but did he really?
He might be dead. Kang might have killed him.
That is, if you want to poke a massive flaw in the finish of Endgame, that makes no fucking sense that he's sitting there on the bench at the end.
Well, news dump. I was about to spoil Indiana Jones for a second. Almost.
Go. What's what? He sit on the bench and hand the whip and the hat over?
I already told you. Someone stole his mojo. And then he can't bang Frau Fabrishina. Can you pronounce her last name? I just butchered
Fräulein. I don't know. I just like saying that. Fräulein.
Well, you know who doesn't like saying that?
Ooh.
Indiana Jones. He hates Nazis.
Okay, that seems fair.
Mac, on August 3rd, Super Mario Bros. Movie is coming to the cock. And may I say this, that movie, I have never seen. So my son is 3, and, you know, when he's obsessed about something, he is just locked in on it. After he saw that movie, he's like, I think I'm done with Mario.
It just, and we talked about it at the time, it was an enjoyable viewing. It just really lacked like a pants tent scene or some staying power. It made $1 gazillion.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't think anyone's really clamoring for it these days.
But yeah, it'll be free on August 3rd. Actually, speaking of it, since we're here right now, this is going to be released on Friday the 7th. And a little plug for myself. Don't mind me just plugging myself. But 1 week from today, on the 15th, that is a Friday, the first night of free Friday flicks is back at the Hat Shell on Sturo. Come on. Yeah. And this year, it's going to be a mix of children's movies and then also classics.
So that is a long day for you that day, my friend.
Who cares? Who cares? So the first week, Rise of Gru. Everyone loves the Minions. We're all gentle Minions. The second week, Back to the Future. Nope, scratch that. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. But Back to the Future is in the mix.
So isn't the whole thing you want to get like 10-year-old kids there?
No, families.
Okay, but family. Okay, all right. Yes, I know. But who's going to drive the 10-year-old kids? Probably the mom or dad.
Yeah, and the parents will be like, okay, we're going to go see Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Don't think as a parent you want to...
Hear me out. The biggest crowd that we had last year was for Uncharted, a PG-13 movie with tons of shits.
That is weird.
It was, the Esplanade was packed.
Popping for Tom Holland, huh?
People love Tom Holland. People love Mark Wahlberg.
Maybe that's why. Boston guy.
So once again, join me there. I'll be giving away stuff. I think we have giveaways for that new movie theater down the Seaport. So don't quote
is that back up and running?
It's a new one now.
In the same spot, though?
Alamo, yeah.
The old one there, the old new one.
I love the old one. But Alamo's supposed to be the best in the country.
Okay. All right. I mean, they didn't really have to improve anything. They just got to start it back up, and that theater would be good again.
And also not play Hellboy.
Was that an ARC theater? What was that theater?
I forget what it was, but they had the laser screens.
The Garden one was ARC for sure. I forget which one the Seaport one was.
But that's some great talk. Either way, Join me. I'm hosting.
I will
Bring
not
your
be.
kids.
I won't be there.
You're going to go for Back to the Future?
For sure not.
We're showing Thor: Love and Thunder in the last one.
If you can guarantee me some air conditioning, I'll go.
News up. We're outside, silly. There is no air conditioning.
Yeah.
Donald Glover has been confirmed to be returning for the Community movie. One person that'll not be coming back, according to Joel McHale, is Chevy Chase.
No one likes Chevy Chase. Everyone likes Donald Glover. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Also, I feel like you couldn't sell this movie as a Community movie without Donald Glover. He was such a big part of that show.
I still think he's the most overrated character on the show, but he's obviously crucial to the dynamic. Are they going to do this like it's the very next year, or is there going to be a time jump?
That'd be funny if it was like Wet Hot American Summer.
Yes.
Because Joel McHale does look older.
Alison Brie looks a lot older, too.
Yeah, a lot of thinner.
I think she's had a lot of work done, too, to the face,
Makes
which
sense.
she did not need.
Also, I'm curious because Donald Glover doesn't play these types of characters anymore, like the overly silly characters, like Mystery Team and all those. So I'm like, can he slip back into this?
I think he's talented enough that he can get back into this.
Like being the over-the-top goofball.
For sure.
Unless, like, what if he's just, like, really serious now?
He comes in looking like he looks in the This Is America video.
Yeah. He's not wearing a shirt.
Boy, he's really changed.
Wow, that trip around the world really changed him. News up. Evan Peters will be joining the cast of Tron 3. The cast, of course, includes Jared Leto.
I quite enjoyed the second Tron without ever having seen the original Tron, which is a weird thing to think about. I hope Jared Leto's kind of due for something we love again, right? It's been a while.
I don't know if he is. You know what
It's
this makes me think of?
Really long time.
So we never had a chance to talk about this. Is when they were doing one of those Hollywood Reporters, let's have a bunch of actors sit around a round table.
Yep.
There was one where two of the people, it was Jeff Bridges, Pedro Pascal, and since I can't think of the other ones, let's say it was 4 Don Cheadles. And they're all sitting around and they're all talking. And Pedro Pascal is talking about The Last of Us, and, you know, getting lost in a video game.
Yeah.
And then Jeff Bridges starts telling the story. He's like, yeah, back in the 80s, I also got lost in a video game. And he paused perfectly and he goes, Tron. And no one at the table laughed. Pedro Pascal, the 4 Don Cheadles, just sat there straight face, nothing.
Clearly a fan of Norm, because that is a perfect.
It was, and the
Norm
delivery was outstanding. I couldn't believe it, and no one thought it was funny. I love Pedro Pascal. Lost a little bit of respect.
Yeah, that seems. I mean, you and I are aware of what the plot of that movie is, so it seems like they should be aware of that.
Yes.
I mean, that's weird. Back to Jared Leto for a second.
Yeah.
It seemed like he was supposed to be the it guy in Hollywood like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And it seems like he obviously has not promised.
Yeah, I would say was it after Dallas Buyers Club? When everyone's like, let's buy in on this.
What was that, 2011, 2012, maybe?
Yeah.
And it just hasn't come to fruition. I'm starting to think, you know what? Maybe I would prefer Jared Leto singer over Jared Leto actor.
It has been. You're right. It has been a bit of a calamity, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's not been a good decade for him, that's for sure.
Like, can you tell me any that stick out to you as being great? What comes to me in the last decade is Joker, Morbius, and Gucci.
His best role is Blade Runner 2049.
Okay,
yeah. He plays a blind guy, so he has to be a little more subdued. But he's for sure the most like chewing up the scene and scenery in that movie. But he was very good in that movie. But like, I need him to be. I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going with this. He's just been disappointing.
Like, you wanted to play Gucci in all of his movies, right? And what do you mean? My father, he no respects me.
But yeah, Evan Peters joining the cast of Tron 3.
Yes.
I really like Evan Peters, so
love him.
Credit to Tron 3.
Do you think he'll be in Deadpool?
Ooh, possibly.
He's gonna play Boner. He's gonna play Boner again, right?
I hope he plays his character from Kick-Ass.
News dump. Back, we are at the halfway point, a little over the halfway point of 2023. And let me ask you this. Can I get a Goose Juicy six-pack of the best movies from the year so far? Keep in mind, do not give me any July movies because that is the second half of the year.
All right. So I was going to ask that. So May through June, no July movies. That means I cannot include Mission Impossible.
Same, which I would have in my six-pack. It is.
Yeah, I would too.
It wouldn't be at the top, but it'd be right in the crevasse.
Yep. So I think there's still a very clear top tier to me. Well, there's a top one and then the next two. Across the Spider-Verse, still head and shoulders number one. Air and Guardians, I still like Air 2. Guardians is 3.
Yep, same here.
I can't put Mission Impossible in. It might have fallen in right here, but there's a little mishmash of movies now after those top 3. So shit, maybe The Flash and Quantumania squeeze in there. I still really liked Renfield and Scream, maybe more than most of you. Note Hard Feelings was a really good throwback. I saw Tetris the other day.
How was it?
It's good. I liked it a little more than Blackberry.
Okay.
It has a better story than Blackberry because we don't know all the ins and outs the way we do with the Blackberry story, and it's better put together than Blackberry. Taron Egerton is very good. I actually still think Glenn Howerton has the best performance out of the two movies.
Okay.
But Tetris is a little bit better in my mind. So that's right there as well. Fuck, I don't know. I don't really know how to finish off my 6. I'll go Spider-Verse, Air, Guardians, Flash, Quantumania, and I'm going to put Renfield there because Renfield really made me cackle quite a few times.
Okay, so I would go Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. That is still in theaters right now. Air is available on Amazon Prime. That'd be my number 2. John Wick 4. I still really love that. That is on VOD still. You can't watch it. That's weird, right? It's still not available.
I guess people are still buying it. Is that
it's a Lionsgate thing, right?
Because I don't know.
I think Lionsgate, I could be wrong, doesn't have any direct connection to any of the streaming services, so they don't rush it on there.
You hear me out. They're Lions gatekeeping. I still have an issue. They've been trying to. They just haven't done it. They need to give us the emotion that the story in the first movie has, because since then I really haven't given a fuck about any of the characters.
But they have that sweet over the head scene.
They can all die and it wouldn't matter to me. John Wick himself could die and it wouldn't matter to me. They have to build him out a little bit better.
What if he dies but he actually doesn't?
I'm right back in, god damn it.
Guardians of the Galaxy will be streaming, I believe, in August on Disney Plus. I have Blackberry as 4 or 5. I'd put Mission Impossible above that, but we cannot count that right now. And I guess squeezing in there at number 6 is The Flash.
Yep, I still very much enjoyed The Flash. But we're talking about at the end of the 6, so we're hoping this next month gives us, I
was going to say
3 of those top 6.
I've already seen Joyride, which I would take over The Flash, and I've already seen Mission Impossible, which I would put over Blackberry. So that would push The Flash right out of there.
Well, there you go. And that's not even including Barbie, Oppenheimer, and I guess you already mentioned Mission Impossible. You already mentioned Mission Impossible. That was the other one.
News dump.